Mariana Mazzucato is professor in the economics of innovation and public value at the University College London. In yesterday's FT, she called on the G20 and other global leaders to place health funding at the top of their agenda. Now, she added that COVID-19 has exposed our current economic model as insufficient, outmoded and negligent. Well, to tell us more on all of this, she joins us now. Mariana, thank you so much for joining us. You always have an interesting take on everything, and I know it also gets our viewers talking and thinking. Now, you say, look, the model is broken, we need to fix it, and we need to focus on health. I mean, that seems obvious that we need to focus on health, so why are we not?
Well, first of all, it's not that we don't talk about health, we also talk about climate. The problem is we don't have action, and one of the issues around health is that we need to begin with the goal, health for all. You know, this is a global pandemic. It makes no sense to hoard the vaccines only in rich countries. We have to globally vaccinate, otherwise we get what Dr. Tedros, the head of WHO, called vaccine apartheid. And I was really lucky, he asked me to run, so I'm chairing the Council on the Economics of Health for All for WHO, and what we say is begin with the goal, literally the moonshot, health for all, and then backtrack on what it means for the economy. So serve, you know, the goal with the economy, which means actually directing finance in ways that actually achieve those goals. It means structuring public-private partnerships so that they're less extractive. You know, it's wrong that companies are making billions on the back of a health pandemic.
But Mariana, if you can't even distribute vaccines, right, to emerging markets that need them the most, I mean, you have countries where 0.2% of the population is only vaccinated. I mean, do we have any hope for actually finance and taxes across the world?
Well, we need to, I mean, the whole point of my work is always go to the seed of the problem. We have to stop, you know, correcting the symptoms, whether it's the financial crisis, a climate crisis, a health crisis. So why is it that so many of these countries haven't been able to roll out the vaccines? They actually don't have manufacturing capacity. And look at the conditions that were attached in the past to the loans given to these countries from the World Bank, from the IMF. It actually hurt their capacity. So this is why also in the G7 report that I helped write, I represented Italy for the G7 panel on economic resilience. We call for a new consensus. We have to move away from the Washington consensus, which has really fostered all this outsourcing, privatization that has hurt local capacity, towards what we call the Cornwall consensus, you know, given that G7 occurred in June in Cornwall. But unfortunately, I mean, look at what's happened since June. We are not moving at pace. And, you know, by the way, the COVID-19 recovery funding, so much of it has gone into problematic areas of the economy. So this whole issue of conditionality linked both to public-private partnerships around health innovation, linked to recovery funds, linked to bailouts. We need a new social contract. We have to stop talking.
A global new social contract.
A global social contract.
But what are the chances that we get it? Because at the moment, you look at the G20 and it seems that it's each country for itself.
Yeah, but that's completely wrong, and this is why we need to call it out. We have G20, we have COP26, two big meetings happening this month and over the next month. And if we can't agree now, the history books will write about this. You know, it's amazing that during a health pandemic where we know that if it remains in any part of the world because people aren't vaccinated, we are all globally, you know, worse off. So even just from purely selfish reasons, we should be getting our acts together. And unfortunately, this is the issue, that there's actually also profits being made in the short run by, again, hoarding, by, you know, not restructuring intellectual property rights, which of course we need a patent pool right now. We need collective intelligence. We don't need rent seeking and value extraction. We need, again, the public-private partnerships around the diagnostics, the tools, the testing, the vaccines, to be really done in a symbiotic, mutualistic way, and not just, you know, trying to make profits on the back of a tragedy.
There's not much, you know, expectations for G20 or for COP26. Is there anything that actually makes you hopeful that there will be commonality, that something will be achieved in coming together and rewriting this new social contract that you want?
Well, we have to be hopeful. Otherwise, what's the point? And you and I, you know, we are hopeful. We're hopeful people look at us. We're smiling. However, that's not enough. We have to stop talking. We have to stop thinking that it's enough just to pour money into a system. We actually have to direct that finance. We need new structures of finance. And, you know, the cost of inaction is much greater than the cost of action. That's just as true with climate as it is with health. Remember the Stern report with climate change. And, you know, every month we're losing $375 billion in global output by not vaccinating the world. However, we shouldn't do it just for that. We should do it for humanitarian reasons, you know, for the human right behind the health for all agenda. But it's, you know, we have to act. We are able to do it. Of course we are. And we just need the political will, but also the corporate governance structures that meet. And, you know, let's give this notion of stakeholder value, which, you know, when you and I see each other in Davos, that's all people talk about. But let's actually practice it. Let's walk the talk of purpose at the center of ecosystems.